Right then, even though technically my backtesting days are over, I still get asked the question of, if I was backtesting, what would I do? Would I do anything different to what I did in the past? What software, what website would I use? So I'm going to run through it. I've used quite a few different backtesting softwares in the past. There's still a couple that I would recommend. However, we're going to be reviewing this today because this is one that I used to use, and they've recently updated it, made it 10 times better than what it used to be. And judging by the fact that I used to use it on the older version, this would have made it a hell of a lot easier to backtest. So we're going to go through it, and I'm going to talk you through how to actually get the most out of your sessions. Without further ado, let's take a look at the platform. So we're on Forex Tester Online. Now, they used to have a Windows version, which I used to use. This is a whole lot better. So I'm excited to touch on this today and go through it. All we do is we can see we've got one project running. We're going to do another one. We're going to go to pound yen, just because it's my favorite pair. We're going to do a version 2. Deposit, we'll go 200K. Start date. So we're going to go right to last week actually. So we're going to zoom right the way to September. We'll go 23rd, end date, that. Beautiful. Oh, I forgot something actually. What you can do, if you just go on new project, you can go on forward testing only mode. All you do is just toggle that. I would personally recommend that. We've all been that trader before. Hands up, I've done it as well before in the past, where you are backtesting, you want to be perfect, you've got through 6 months of data, you've made an error, and you think, shouldn't have taken that trade, let me just go back, let me undo that. Honestly, don't do that. You're better making mistakes in this environment when it's simulated than in a live market with real capital. So if you are going to make mistakes, make sure it's in this environment. And yeah, make sure you own that as well. Just own up to it, track the data, have afterthoughts and reflections, but make sure you're honest with yourself. That's the biggest thing I would say. So we're going to run this project. Once we're on the project, we can see it's pretty standard default settings. We're going to change this. So we'll go chart settings. I have set up my own templates just to make it very similar to my trading view, which is handy as well. And we are going to go from here. So this is ideal, and let's just go through this together. So if we just start off, I covered the narrative of this trade in the last video, so I'm not going to touch on it too much. However, the purpose of this was to look for longs, based on the fact that pound yen has created this huge flush down, tapped into this extreme. We have started to correct higher. Notice how this swing high has failed to break the previous swing low. So this was a weak high, looking at this as the first target. What I love about this as well, I was just playing around with it, is we never used to have the lock-in feature. So you used to have to try and balance that. You do have it now. So if you just click the shift on your keyboard, you can lock that in. Pretty easy to do. So that is solid, but the narrative is long, right? Now, from a lower time frame perspective, so we had daily directional bias bullish, H1 order flow was bullish as well, intraday looking beautiful. I'm just going to quickly add some sessions here because I'm missing sessions, but I do like to have them on because it incorporates in the overall narrative. Now this is, your timing might be slightly different. Don't worry, it's not an exact science. This is what I use. So we're going to apply that. You can see we've added that on now. Perfect. And let's just play this out. Now, had you just had forward testing only mode, you wouldn't be able to go back. So let's say we go forward now, you wouldn't be able to do this. So I would highly recommend only having the forward only option. Like I said, big thing. Anyway, we were coming into the week. I was looking for longs, and I'm looking for a Judas rally to the downside just to kind of showcase that false move and ideally potentially lower the week. So we swept this low, looking for a liquidity entry. So just looking at this, just to quickly draw it. We'd taken this low, right, which was beautiful. So we'd taken that low, pushed to the downside, and we were looking for longs. Go to the 5 minute. If we just play this out a little bit, we had intention showing, which was nice. And if I just draw in this now, right? And then we're going to set a limit order. So we'll do this together. I'll show you how easy this is because we never had access to this in the past, and it's creating that real life environment, which is what you need. You should have that with any testing software you have. Simple as new order, limit order in this case. All right, we're going to have a stop loss in as well. So as far as limit order, it's going to be here. We can set that. We'll do it before we just drag it below the low, safe stop, take profit. We can drag this as well. We're going to target the swing high for roughly 3 to 4 to 1. Risk, feel free to obviously have your standard risk. And then we're going to place order. Any notes you want in that as well, feel free. Order placed. What I love about that, little touches here. Confirmation that you've got the buy limit order placed, and now it's just as simple as letting it play out. Once we're tagged in, you will get confirmation. There you go. You can see it's live, buy limit been executed. As soon as it has been executed, you will then naturally see profit and loss fluctuating. So if I fast forward this now, you can see how that changes. Once again, changes. So it's creating that real life environment, even though it's not real life. So as far as backtesting goes, there's obviously a time and a place for it. You don't want to get stuck on it, but when you are backtesting, you want to make it as real life as possible. It's not the same. It's never going to be the same because you don't have real money on the line. And that's the ultimate truth. It's not going to be the same as what a real life trading market environment is. However, if you can try and emulate it as much as you can, even though you can't do it, then it's going to help you. It's going to help you. So triggered into the trade, safe stop below structure, and then we just impulse to the upside. And it was just a case of removing risk. So when I remove risk, it's not just as simple as move it to break even on the chart. You've got to think about commission as well. So factoring in commission, and then obviously paying myself along the way, which is key as well. I always talk about that. Don't just let price pull back to break even unless it's in your strategy to do so. And then boom, take profit hit. Simple, clean. You can see the order execution as well. You can hover over that, see the exact amount of lots we've used, how much money. Now I'm just going to take a random trade just to showcase, and then we'll dig into some analytics. So let me just place a random short. We've taken out the high. I'll place a short-term short. Let's go to a new order, market, sell. We'll do one lot, and we shall sell it. So it's sold. Let's close the trade. Beautiful. Right. So overall, we're taking 2 trades now. We can then go to analytics down here, and we can then see, obviously, days, total trades, profit trades, loss trades. We've got a good amount of data here to go through and obviously track it, right? So you've obviously got net profit on the 2 trades we've taken, gross profit, etc., return on investment. You've got the basics here, which is great to see. So you can then transfer that data and make sure it's similar into then a spreadsheet, which I'd highly recommend having an additional spreadsheet to go through that. So we'll touch on that as well now. So let's go through it. So if we were just looking at this, we can see that roughly these are the entries we took, right? So we took a short, but overall pretty much the same. Apart from the fact we took a win and it was a loss. But to give you a realistic point of view, we've taken 1 win, 1 loss. We've inputted data here, pound yen, taken on the date, obviously the open time, close time, direction, trade setup, etc. Then what we can do is we can use the data from this, and we can say, based on the trades that we did take, right, how do we track that? Well, we track it in the spreadsheet. You go through the data, you put everything in. Yes, it's a little bit of a fiddly process. It's going to take a bit of time, but if you want to get somewhere in trading, you've got to spend that initial time testing and getting the data. Then we can look at the actual specifics. So we can go through the amount of wins, but this is where we can go in a bit more detail. We can go into strike rate, win rate. We can see what the return on investment over the course of a year is. So this could be 3%, -1, +5. So you're going to get that 12-month return, which will give you an accurate point of view on how you and your strategy performed over the course of that year. Then you've got obviously daily performance. So we could then dig into, right, what's the strongest day? Well, the strongest day just from the 2 trades we took was Monday. Worst day, Wednesday. So we can dig into things like that. Even the time of day. What time of day is best for the strategy? If you, for example, were absolutely crushing it in London session and your strike rate was 68%, for example, but then coming into the back end of New York, you took 7 losses, your win rate was 12%, you could then go, the strategy doesn't really perform well around that time. Maybe if I get 12, 24 months of data, I can then start to eliminate that time period because it's clearly not serving me. So you can go through this and just pinpoint, right, what is working, what's not working. Same thing with, for example, if you were tracking pro trend trades, counter trend trades, you might have a strike rate with pro trend of, once again, let's go 68%. Strike rate for counter trend trades might be 42. So then you've got to factor in, right, do I want to keep trading counter trend trades? Do I want to cut it out for now? Do I want to really focus on pro trend because that's what's working for me? You can dig into everything based on what we have in here. So great thing to do. Another couple things to touch on. I love the fact that you can is really just emulating a live market environment. So if we were just to play this out, we can see, if we zoom this right back and play this, and we zoom right in, that is ticking away exactly as you would in a live market. You can see that, right? Pretty much how you would in a live market. Love that. Never had that before in the past. And then if you want to speed that up, you can into obviously a lot more speedier modes there. So that's solid. And then also, if you wanted to actually have another layout, which I think is handy as well, you can do that. So if we just look at a different layout, we can have pound yen, and we'll go the 1 hour chart. We'll go the 1 hour chart here. And if we just go to here, adjust the settings, we've still got the order confirmation here, and we'll go 5-minute chart. We can then see what pound yen is doing obviously on the higher time frame. So we've got the 1 hour, then we've got the 5-minute. If you wanted to add a third one in, feel free. Like if you wanted to add, I would have it here, so we could add the daily chart in here just to showcase that directional bias. Then we could have we'll call it the 4 hour here. And then we could have the 5-minute here for entry, right? So you've got those time frames. So as we're testing, you can understand, right, that's the daily. It might be just as simple as going back through the time frames, but just to keep it simple for you, you might want to do that. And that could be simple. And then you take the trade, once again, collect the data, simulate that market environment, and then collect the data, see how your strategy performs. Bish, bash, bosh. Final notes is, love this platform. Number one, very smooth, a lot better than the older platform. And I would love to use this personally. I'm kind of past my backtesting days. The only reason I backtest now, if I was going to do so, would be a scenario where I've not taken a trade in 2 or 3 weeks. Rarely happens now. Or I've taken a trip for 2 or 3 weeks, been out of the markets, want to kind of warm up a little bit before actually risking capital. Right, go back through some old trades, test some data for a while, get back in the flow of things, and then initiate it. But for a lot of you want to be backtesting a strategy to see if it works, building confidence, collecting data, building consistency within your trading. So this is going to be perfect for a lot of you. The only final thing that I will say is use this with intention. Don't just sit there for 8 hours one day thinking you're working hard just for the sake of backtesting, because it's not going to benefit you. You're going to burn out. You are not going to be smart with your time. You're just going to be working hard for working hard's sake, and you're just going to lose focus. So what I would do is ideally put some headphones on, get some good music on, ideally without any lyrics, get into a bit of a focus, put a timer on, and just set 2 hours maybe for the day, 2 or 3 hours aside in the afternoon when maybe the markets are not doing anything, a quiet day in the markets, and you can just focus on collecting data. That way it's intentional. You've got a time, you've got an end date to that time, and you're not just sat there all day just for the sake of it. You've got that limited time to then backtest. Once it's done, it's over. And backtesting is never going to create a real life market environment. I don't care what anyone tells you. It's not the same. However, if you can have a platform like this where it does simulate it as much as humanly possible, and you've got the data and you've got the running profit and loss and you set the order, you are essentially doing your very best to what you can do to try and simulate it. Even though it's not going to be the same, it is from a theory standpoint. So, you can kind of use that to your advantage. But overall, yeah, great tool. Don't get stuck on backtesting. Use it for a time and a place. But if you are at that stage where you are backtesting, highly recommend this. Seems like a great platform, very smooth, miles better than the old one. And they have applied the new things that I told them about in the past as well, which is great to see. So overall, hope you enjoyed today's video, and check out this platform as well. The link will be in the description. Check it out and use it for yourself. Speak to you all soon.